There is one last tool that I want to talk about, and that is this guy here called the gradient filter. The gradient filter works in a similar fashion to the adjustment brush in that we can paint in, or in this case using a gradient, apply a color balance. We can adjust exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, clarity, saturation, sharpness, noise reduction, so on and so forth, using a gradient, similar to the gradient tool in Photoshop. So what I've got going on here is -50 in the exposure. If I were to click, hold, and now drag on a diagonal, I can actually darken that part of the image. Most of the darkening is starting up here, but it is in a gradient fashion, slowly transitioning to here. If I wanted to make that transition longer or shorter, I can do that. If I wanted to, I can actually grab the green and bring it in this way. And I think this is a lot better than extending this guy way the heck out here like that. But it all depends on what it is that you're trying to achieve. As you can see, you can rotate this any direction you want, and you can apply any effect that you have here. Not much else I need to talk to you about this. It works great. It's fantastic. If you've got a portion of the image that you want to throw in a little more detail and all that kind of stuff, as in clarity and sharpness, then gradient from the bottom up. Your horizon, if you got a horizon shot, your sky won't have all that detail and everything else, but the pebbles, the rocks, and the water leading to your horizon can have increased stuff. Absolutely stunning, absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. Now, don't want it, hit the delete key and it disappears. The only other thing I want to talk to you quickly about is this guy here, which is your preferences for Camera Raw, and then you have the rotate left and rotate right. That I don't even have to talk about. But inside here in the preferences, we have a couple of things that I just wanted to show you, but you don't have to actually do anything in here. Under the general, save image settings in a Sidecar XMP file. What that means is that XMP file I talked about throughout the course that actually has the information that tells the image what to look like is going to reside in the same directory or folder as your raw file. The other option is to put it inside a database. Now, most of you guys are not going to go the database route, but if I was still working at the newspaper, that might be an option where there might be multiple people wanting to have access to the raw file. In that case, you'd put it in a raw database, which would be on the server that everybody would have access to, and they can actually get the raw file with all of these adjustments in it. Do you want to apply sharpening to your images or to your previews only? Totally up to you. I'm going to leave it on all images. Default image settings, just leave this stuff alone. All right, just leave this stuff alone. You might want to come in and make default specific to an ISO setting. That might not be bad. Make default specific to your serial camera if you got more than one. That might be an option. It's already checked, so The next thing is default handling of JPEGs and TIFFs. You can actually have the settings so that Camera Raw will work with these guys. Just remember that if you're working with a pixel-based image in the Camera Raw dialog box, you have the flexibility of working with all the tools and having everything at your fingertips on the right-hand side of the interface. Just know that you have no backdoor like you do when you're working with a RAW file and an XMP. When you're working with a pixel-based file such as a JPEG or a TIFF, and you're doing it through Camera Raw, know that all those adjustments are permanent as if you're doing them in Photoshop. There you go, and I think that concludes our lesson on the Camera Raw interface. Next, I want to show you how to use Bridge to bring in, import, apply metadata templates to your images, and then we're going to go through the rating, the sorting, the ranking, organizing of all your images, and we're going to go through some of the various output modules, what you're going to do with your images after you've made all these edits, and then I'm going to show you a couple automation things. See you in the next video.